Hey, what's going on? In this video, I want to share with you some really cool things I learned about the country of Miramar. Some people call it Burma. I'm gonna call it Burma because it's shorter version of it. Talk a little about the history, about the culture, crazy crap about it, beer, ATMs, all that kind of cool stuff. Before I do, down below in the description of the video, YouTube description, there's a link, and if you do click on it, there's actually training on how someone can make the most amount of money using social media. Okay, money's always good. It can help you travel and do cool stuff. Uh, Now, what makes Burma really fascinating to me, and one of the reasons I got this book was Miramar is somewhat of a mystery. They're kind of isolated for a long, long time. You don't know what the hell's going on in that country. They didn't allow tourists for a long time, and when they did allow tourists, they allowed you 2 weeks. Come in, give us your money, and then get the hell out. Boom. Uh, so there's kind of similar to I always thought like North Korea in that regard. I was always been kind of fascinated by the country. Now, Burma's strict military rule is really kind of frowned upon by other countries out there. Plus, there's tons of rebel groups that want to overthrow the government. Wow. So there's some dangers to Burma. Uh, and the country is probably 100 years behind the rest of Southeast Asia. It has a lot of problems, a lot of them. Some history about the country is a bunch of clans ran Burma. They were isolated from the world, and bam, the British showed up, and basically, there was some war, and the British beat the crap out of all the clans, and just said, "Hey, here we go." And the British united Burma, okay? But as the British as the masters. Indians started flowing into Burma, income grew, the country became very dependent on imports. And after World War II, there was really a lot of damage. There was a lot of fighting that happened in Burma, a lot of damage. And independence was in the air, but the British wanted a gradual transition, allowing time to rebuild. And on January 4th, 1948, Burma became independent of the British. And immediately there was lots of chaos, and everyone became distrustful of the government. In 1949, almost the entire country was in the hands of one rebel group or another one. And in the mid-1950s, the central government strengthened its hold on the country. But the economic situation went from bad to worse. Okay, so now the government's got control of the country, but shit's going bad. In 1953, the Burmese bravely announced that aid or assistance from the United States was no longer welcome. We don't need you. Boom. Then the country went very socialistic, where the government wanted to control most of it. In 1966, nationalist policies extended all the way to shops, and a long list of items were only available through people's shops, through government shops, like toothbrushes or something. And as the economy stagnated, the country's standard of living slid downhill just year after year. And finally, in 1987, the people had enough and took to the streets. In 1989, the country's name was changed from Burma to Miramar, claiming that Burma was a vestige of European colonialism. So they want their own identity, which you can understand. And that's why they want people to call it Miramar. The same year, the government was eliminating socialism in favor of capitalism in all but a few industries. That's good news. In May 1990, the country's first free election took place within 30 years. However, even at the timing of this book, repression of free speech and other human rights continued under the government. If you oppose the government, you can be arrested. There are severe media restrictions. They don't play Western songs on the radio. No, nope. Forced relocation of 500,000 urban dwellers, and forced labor, which this is what I like. Forced labor is human minesweepers. Doesn't that sound fun? Hey, let's go sweep some mines. You don't want to? Well, too bad. Boop, go do it. Your daddy wants to. The government wants you to do it. Now, Miramar does have a big drug problem. It's estimated half of all the opium in the United States actually comes from Burma. And the United States has stationed drug enforcement agents in the country just to kind of help out, trying to. When it comes to money, around 40, well, they can make money off of opium, but around 43% of the country is forests, and that's really a lot. They have some gem deposits, oil, natural gas, mineral deposits. The crazy thing is that there are 3 national parks in the entire country, and 1% of the land is protected by the government. That's very, very low. By comparison, Thailand has 12% of land that's protected by the government. Okay. Uh, Another interesting thing is like rubbish is not really a concern, you know, uh, in the country because people are so poor that they recycle it very quickly. Like, oh, there's a can. Ooh, get it. Everybody's fighting over the can and recycle it. Uh, Peaceful political assembly is banned, and citizens are forbidden to talk to foreigners about politics. So if you work in the government, like you work at like a school or maybe a post office or cleanup or something, you have to sign a pledge not to discuss politics or risk losing your job. Now, if you look at our school system in America, can teachers even be fired? I don't know. There's like tenure. I don't think they can. So it's kind of an interesting comparison. Uh, there's in all major cities, there's all these signs from the government to kind of tell people what to do. Uh, like only when there's discipline will there be progress. Strength of the nation is found within. Anyone who's destructive and unruly is our enemy. There's a couple things that they kind of say to people. They want their citizens a certain way. They have always signs to remind them. And another really interesting thing is the Constitution states that Burmese women are not allowed to marry foreigners. Nope, can't do it. The person using power of the country is the lowest in Asia. Here's a trip. The typical person spends 65% of their money on food. Could you imagine that? 65% of your paycheck goes to food? And their diet's mostly rice and like fish, meats, and vegetables. It's amazing. Without income earned and good purchased on the black market, no civil servant in Miramar would survive. Say, so they have to do that. And when it comes to rebel groups, I thought this was crazy. 9 out of 10 of them have a 25,000 men army. It's a big army. Reminds me of that movie, was it No Escape? Excuse me. You're fighting over a little bit of a cold I have. Major credit cards are not always accepted in the country. There's very few ATMs, so you gotta bring a lot of money. You'll see small children wear holy threads around their neck or wrists for protection from bad spirits or spells, so they're superstitious in that regard. Let's see here. And when the locals in Miramar, if you go to a restaurant and people want to get the waiter's attention, they make a kissing sound. There you go. That's fascinating. 2 or 3 short kisses, almost like you're calling a cat or something. Myanmar's national beer, it's uniquely named. Can you guess the name of it? It's called Miramar beer. There you go. And one of my favorite things I learned is Chinlan, if I pronounce it right. It's a combination of sport and dance where team sports with no opposing team, they get together and they basically like form a circle and they kick this Chinlan as long as possible in the air, almost like a hacky sack, from player to player, using any body part except for the hands. That's the national sport. Okay, so I thought this was pretty cool stuff I learned about the country. If you like this video, if you learned something, please hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate that. If you are interested in making a little bit extra money on the side, I highly encourage you to check out this education and training program called what is it called? I had a brain fart. I lost the name of it. The Commission Machine. You can learn a whole lot more about it by just clicking the link below. It's an amazing program because it teaches you a lot more about social media, not only exposure, but it also trains you on the most important thing when it comes to internet marketing. You know what that is? Yeah, it's actually the process of getting the money. Getting the money from people, that's the hardest thing, okay? And it goes over that. He's the best teacher that I found on that. It's a really good training. Highly recommend it. Check it out. I'm sure you'll love it. And thanks a lot. Have a great day, and bye for now.